What's going on YouTube? It is your guy, Consumer Reviews and DIYs. We are back in the building today with the DIY project. Now this is going to be a SSD installation for a Sony PlayStation 5. Here on the screen I have a model CS3040 SSD. This is going to be a 1 terabyte and this has a read speed of 5,600, which meets Sony specification. If you look on the screen, you can see where I purchased it at from Amazon. The reason why I went with this is because it was a lot more affordable than some other SSD options that I had found on the Amazon site. So about $145 or so, I'll get you this SSD. This also has a write speed of 4,300. And this is from PNY. Now, in addition to the SSD, you also need a heatsink. So I was able to find a heatsink as well. That was about $15. All right, this is going to be from Glow Trends, and there is a package of 2 that actually comes in this kit. Yep. So again, this is more along the lines of one of the more affordable options for this. Also wanted to give you a quick snapshot of what comes along inside of that bag with those 2 heat sinks. All right, guys, let's get to work. First step, we have to turn the PlayStation 5 upside down. Now this is going to be, of course, for the disc model, which is what I have. And then we're going to have to take that back side off. Now we're going to lift up on it, and I'll be honest, this gave me a little bit of a challenge. I know I've seen other people say it's really easy, but I didn't want to break it. So I had to be careful with the amount of force, but it went ahead and came up for me. So after we get the back plate off, we then need to unscrew the little seal or plate that's over the expansion SSD bay. And that's going to be a Phillips head screwdriver, something with a pretty sharp point on it. The next step that we're going to have to do is, as we look down inside, we see the screw on the left hand side, and there's a little spacer underneath that screw. Once we take out that screw and that spacer, you are going to put the spacer in the appropriate spot for the size of your SSD card. So for example, I have a 2280. That's the size of this SSD. So I'm going to put the spacer for mine in the 80 spot. Next, you want to get the thermal tape placed onto the SSD card. And then you want to place the heat sink on top of the thermal paste. Then we'll hold it down. I'll use the rubber bands that they included. That's what I'm gonna call them. They're like little elastic bands versus the clips. I guess they included both options for you to choose, whichever one you think is best for the SSD and the heatsink. I just chose the rubber bands because they were a little bit easier to get on. Now once we have that together, we will now be installing the SSD into the PlayStation 5. Now you're gonna have to put it in at an angle. It's gonna go right in, and you're gonna put the screw on top of that spacer. So the SSD and the spacer are gonna pretty much be aligned on the hole, and you're gonna use the screw to go ahead and screw it down. Once you complete this step of screwing it down, you're gonna put back the cover for the SSD expansion bay, place the panel screw back in, and then you'll take the back cover and go ahead and place it back on the console. Now it's time to test it out. Now when you reboot or boot up your PlayStation, your screen should not look like this. I did this to drown out all of the background objects, including myself. But there is going to be a message to format the M.2 SSD storage. So you're going to select the option to the right to go ahead and start formatting the SSD. It won't take that long. I want to say it took roughly 10 or 12 seconds to format it. It's just that simple. And it's going to give you, or it's going to tell you what the read speed is of the SSD. So you're really good to go after this point. You can then go to your different options within your settings, and now you'll see your console storage followed by your SSD storage. I was able to do some testing as well, guys, and I did notice that whenever you move games from the console storage to the SSD, they move pretty fast. For example, I'm gonna attempt to move this game over that's about 33, 34 gigs. And as you can see on the screen, it is moving pretty fast. It is probably gonna take under a minute for this to fully transfer this game title from the console storage to the SSD storage. Now, when I tried this in reverse, I did notice that it took, for me personally, 2 to 3 times as long to transfer it back from the SSD to the console. So that's just something to note if you're thinking about, getting this one. All right, YouTube family, this has been my review and DIY of the PNY heatsink with the Glow Trends heatsink. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for additional content, and I will catch you guys on the next one.